Welcome to the Decision Tree applet. This applet demonstrates how to build and use a decision tree for supervised classification learning. This tutorial will demonstrate how to create a dataset with the Decision Tree applet. To learn how to build a decision tree from your dataset, watch the Build a Decision Tree tutorial. To learn how to classify unseen examples and test your decision tree, watch the Test a Decision Tree tutorial. When you start the applet, a window will open that looks like this. The large white area is called a canvas and is where your dataset will appear. To create a dataset, make sure the Create tab is selected. When the Solve tab is selected, you can build and use your decision tree. To create your own dataset by inputting examples, go to the File menu and click Create New Dataset. A dialog box will appear where you can type in the parameters for the dataset. The parameters include the input values and the output value, separated by commas. The output value must appear last. When you're done typing in your parameters, click OK, and the parameters that you specified will appear on the canvas. To add examples manually to either the training set or the test set, click the View Edit Examples button. A window will appear called the Edit Dataset Examples. The training dataset appears on the left and the test dataset appears on the right. The Add New Example button under either of these sets allows you to input values for each of the parameters you specified. After you enter in values, press Add and the example will appear in the window and on the main canvas. You can also load examples from a text file saved on your local disk by clicking Load File from the File menu. This option is only available if you're running the applet as a Java application. The text file from which you want to load examples must follow a specific format. This is the same format that appears in the text representation of the dataset that you can access by clicking View Edit Text Representation under the Edit menu. The examples can also be added through this window. The parameters must appear in the first line of the file, beginning with T followed by a colon and ending with a semicolon. Each example must appear in a separate row. All training examples must begin with an A followed by a colon, and test examples must begin with a B followed by a colon. The values for each parameter must be separated by commas, spaces, or tabs, and each line must end with a semicolon. You can also work with an existing sample dataset. To do this, click Load Sample Dataset under the File menu. A dialog box will appear where you can select a dataset from the available sample problems. After selecting a sample problem, click Load and the dataset will appear on the canvas. You can modify, add, or remove examples in this dataset by clicking on the View Edit Examples button again. Here, the training examples appear on the left and the test examples appear on the right. You can move examples between the two sets by highlighting an example in one set and then clicking on the arrow button pointing to the other set. You can also highlight more than one example by clicking on an example and pressing the Shift or Control key and clicking on other examples, or click Select All or Select Percentage of Examples. You can then use the arrows to move all of the selected examples at once. You can also add new examples to each set as before, or remove examples by highlighting the example to be removed and then pressing the Remove Examples button. You've now learned how to create a dataset using the Decision Tree applet. To learn how to build a decision tree with a dataset, watch the Build a Decision Tree tutorial.